Well, let's
You're
bring
welcome.
in Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican from the state of Florida. Congressman, can you stop this disinformation board?
Well, I'll tell you this, obviously this is a creation of Homeland Security. What we can do is that in the next budget created by Republicans, we can try to wipe it out the best we can. But this is a function of Joe Biden and his lack of leadership. He's the one that wants this board to exist. You don't need something like this if you're actually telling the truth about what's going on. Specifically, if you're worried about Russia, if you're worried about China, why is this being housed in Homeland Security? You can do this in the Department of State. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense at all. The reality is that Alejandro Mayorkas has been a disaster with respect to handling the southern border. I'm not quite sure what information he's putting out, but everything he says is disinformation and misinformation when it comes to what's going on our southern border and how Joe Biden has allowed for massive trafficking of fentanyl and people into the United States.
Congressman, I always associate you very closely with education. The White House is reportedly considering placing an income cap for people to qualify for student loan forgiveness. Are you against any loan forgiveness for anyone?
Oh, yeah, I absolutely am opposed to it. First of all, in America, if you take out debt, you have a responsibility to repay it. That is the bedrock of our credit system. Secondly, if the White House engages in this, they are literally rewriting contract law. When you take out money, there's a promise to pay. That is a contract. What does this say for the value and the stability of contracts in the future? That the White House can come down in the future and eviscerate other contracts they don't like? This is bad precedent for our country. This creates a moral hazard. We should not allow for this. Unfortunately, yes, there are people who are struggling with student loan payments. But what we cannot do is go through this process of just eliminating student loan debt. It's the wrong way to go.
Got it. Congressman Byron Donalds, thanks very much for joining us, Congressman. And I have a hard time getting it out this morning because it's Monday morning.
And Joseph, explain first to the layperson the blockchain part of this and the role that Ethereum plays in all of it.
Hey, thanks for having me on. So the artist's name is Beeple, but with respect to Ethereum, essentially for millennia, all of our transactions have relied on centralized trust systems overseen by monarchs in nation states. Blockchain, which is a decentralized protocol technology, enables us to build more decentralized systems that don't require as much dependency on centralized intermediaries like governments, banks, and other organizations. Right. So Bitcoin brought decentralized money to the world, essentially a free market money system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. And Ethereum enables us to build better forms of money like Bitcoin, but also efficiently create a wide variety of digital assets on much sounder decentralized trust foundations.
So earlier in the week, the Federal Reserve System in America, the entire system was down. You couldn't wire anyone money. And, while there was no real panic per se, many say that was a good example of where maybe a blockchain system would have worked. In layman's and layperson terms, do you really believe that a blockchain is robust enough to actually take the place of the current system that runs the Federal Reserve?
Financial technology, especially in the Western world, is very robust. Layers built on top of that tend to be more corruptible by people. In terms of disruptive technology, generally a disruptive technology starts a little bit behind the incumbent technology, and because of the promise that the people see in it, eventually eclipses that incumbent technology by orders of magnitude. So,
right.
So currently, I would say that that blockchain technology is on par with at its foundational level with the existing Western systems, but because it's natively digital, that sort of robustness is likely to move up the layers of the stack, so to speak.
All right. Let's get to Beeple and this art thing and the non-fungible tokens. And this is brand new to me, but I'm reading where some of these pieces have gone for $3.5 million. A piece that he sold not long ago went up 10 times in value already, sold for $6.6 million. It's just amazing. You're in the middle of all of this. What do you make of just how the whole crypto world is starting to dominate all the facets of our lives?
Well, first, it's important to point out that there is rampant asset inflation all around the world. Just there's much more money chasing the same number of goods and services, and protecting yourself involves finding things that will appreciate in value as quickly as money is depreciating, essentially. And so there's some of that involved. But also, this is a paradigm shift. We are thanks to COVID, thanks to sort of the end of a 70-year debt supercycle, where we're really running on fumes in terms of how our financial system and the global economy is constructed. And so the paradigm shift basically moves us in the direction of digitization of the entire economy, and digitization on top of hopefully a new trust foundation represented by decentralized protocol technology. So the people that are understanding that have been piling in for a few years and are now piling in much greater numbers. Institutionals are coming. Corporations are aligning their treasuries with crypto tokens and making use of the blockchain technology in their business processes.
I think the key word you said there was the trust aspect of this. It feels like the technology is there, but the trust is gaining big time. Joseph, thank you very much.